Horizon Zero Dawn is generating quite a bit of buzz, and I just wanted to quickly weigh in on a couple of different things. Also, just to make it clear, this is not a review. Unfortunately, I have not had time to finish it, but I do have quite a few hours invested at the time of recording this video. Also, I'm going to try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. And I'm not just talking about the story either. I'm talking about certain experiences, certain encounters, things you're going to come across in this game that have a certain wow factor, which I believe carries more of an impact when you're experiencing these things for yourself for the very first time. Therefore, I'm going to just show you some random gameplay for the most part. Alright, so let's get started. Is this game as good as people are making it out to be? Because there's quite a bit of hype surrounding this game. And some of the scores that this game has been getting have been off the charts, with a few exceptions. So what do I think? I always thought that Guerrilla Games was a very talented team of developers. I used to always talk about how Sony should take the reins off them and give them a little bit more creative freedom. So when this game was first announced, I kept my expectations in check, but I did in fact expect a good game. And what I did expect is for Guerrilla Games to do a good job, make a competent open world game, but at the same time, I felt because they never made an open world game that they were a little bit out of their league. And I was right. Well, kind of, sorta. After playing this game, I can say with complete confidence that Guerrilla Games is in a league of their own. Absolutely, this game is breathtaking. There have been several moments in this game where I was just awestruck by how stunning this game actually looks. The attention to detail is just absolutely phenomenal. I think the biggest complaints anyone can have about this game is that it's doing some of the same things that other open world games have done. And I can agree with that to a certain extent. What I will say is that it does those things a lot smarter, a lot more intuitively, and a lot more creatively. Usually when it comes to RPGs, in my personal opinion anyways, the biggest appeal for me to do side quests is to level up, gain experience, or get loot. This game actually incentivizes you from a narrative point of view, slightly making the experience more dynamic because the NPCs will be aware of your actions. Therefore, when you're progressing within the main story missions or whatever, encounter one of the NPCs again later on in the game, these characters will be aware of the choices you made or you didn't make, therefore will have a direct impact when it comes to the dialogue. Now, that might not be a big deal for some people, and I completely understand. It's not game-breaking, it's not revolutionary. But for me, speaking for myself, I'm exhausted from doing these generic, random fetch quests just to get more experience so I can get stronger and fight tougher monsters, get better weapons so I can be better equipped to face them, and things like that. The same old song and dance when it comes to role-playing games. For years, using the same template. I mean, it's a little bit refreshing to see a developer go a different direction. Okay? Like when it comes to skills, for example. You're not heavily reliant upon them. It's more of a complement to your skill set in terms of how good you can play the game. And learning how to get better, more so than a crutch, if that makes any sense. Back to the side quest. They're actually good. That's another incentive to do them, because they're good. You're introduced to new characters. The voice acting in this game, by the way, is very good. The story, by the way, is very good. Surprisingly so. Refreshingly so. I mean, the last thing I thought I was going to take away from this game was a good narrative experience, and that has so far been one of its strongest suits. And I'm hearing it actually gets better as you get later into the game. The only concern that I personally had going into this game is that I thought I would start to get tired of seeing the same old thing over and over again, and that would be trees and a lot of green and a lot of rocks, okay? And I know that might sound silly, but the fact of the matter is, when you have so many hours invested into the game, you might get a little bit of fatigue when it comes to seeing the same things over and over again. And I thought that would start to weigh down on me. One thing that some people don't realize about this game is that it does have different biomes, okay? Just when I thought I was starting to, hey, it looks great, it looks beautiful, but I wish there was more to it, well, that's when the game upped the ante, and I ended up in a place where there couldn't be any more of a contrast when it comes to 1 minute you're in a very beautiful forest type of atmosphere, one that we can all relate to, and then the next minute you're tossed into this futuristic science fiction kind of atmosphere where it's so convincing because they pay so much attention to detail, where the world actually feels all that much better for it, and more importantly, alive. The atmosphere and the setting in this game is extremely convincing. What this game does extremely well is right when you think you've seen the most beautiful thing or the most amazing thing happen, it ups the ante. The game is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely stunning, and although I'm not a game developer, I think it's the most technically achieving video game when it comes to the console. And even just taking the console end of the spectrum and putting it aside for the moment, I'm going to say that this is one of the best games I have ever seen, no matter what the platform. You might be saying to yourself, hey dude, you're crazy. This game doesn't offer or have the same effects that can be found within PC gaming, and that might be true. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I know what I'm looking at. That makes it even crazier because I firsthand know how incredibly insane it can get from a visual fidelity standpoint on the PC, and that makes it all that much more mind-boggling and mind-blowing to me that they were able to achieve this using a console. And it runs great. It doesn't take a performance hit for looking so good. I'm just totally amazed with this game. Sometimes I'll just sit there and take photos after photos. That's another thing about these photos. As much as I like it being in the game, it can be a huge distraction if the game indeed looks good. And this game looks so good that any idiot can make a good photo, including myself. So it's like a little mini game in a game. So, man, I gotta get back to this game. I just wanted to just quickly give you my thoughts. Anyways, that's all I got. This is without a doubt PlayStation 4's new killer app. There's no question about that. Now, is it worth going out there and getting a PlayStation 4 just for this game? Well, is it worth going out there getting a Nintendo Switch just for Zelda? That's going to come down to you, what you can afford, and it's not like you're just buying a platform to play one game, because although one game might have specifically driven you to a particular platform, you'll end up getting more games for it eventually that are also worth your time. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots that I thought that were worth taking a peek at. But here's the bottom line. If you own a PlayStation 4, I think you absolutely owe it to yourself to play this game. And I feel strongly when I say that. I feel it's a very special game, and hopefully I'll be giving you some more footage and content in respect to it. Anyways, I love you all. Be safe. Stay out of trouble. Until next time, take it easy.